always. Looks like you've put on a fantastic day, Jane. And welcome everybody, and thank you for taking the time to come and hear about C29 metals and our journey in Kazakhstan. Why Kazakhstan, you may ask? First, I'd like to just go around the room. Something I like to do first thing, just to really get introductions happening, is just go around the room and see who in the room currently is invested in a junior in Kazakhstan. Yep, and that's about the normal count. Yep, and hopefully those couple of hands are C29. So therein lies a huge untapped opportunity. Kazakhstan is an incredible opportunity that is just not well known. And there's all sorts of different perceptions about why that might be the case. And I'd like to talk a little bit today about our positive journey so far in Kazakhstan. But first up, just want to step through a couple of items. One being, if you download our presentation, you won't find anything in there about our Ulitau project in a geological sense. So we acquired our initial project. We announced that deal in March, and that was an announcement on March the 20th. That announcement contained a foreign estimate, a non-JORC compliant foreign estimate, and some historical drilling results that supported that estimate. Unfortunately, under the ASX listing rules, due to it being classified as a foreign estimate and non-JORC compliant, we are not allowed to republish that since that announcement. So in our presentation, you will find hyperlinks to that announcement that sits on our website, but obviously also sits on the ASX platform. And if you click on that hyperlink, it will open a presentation that tells you we have a non-JORC compliant historic foreign estimate of £9.8 million, circa 3,000 ppm, as a kick-off for our project. And in anyone's language, that grade is phenomenal, and the area of that estimate is a very, very small area of one tenement. And we've since grown our tenement footprint, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we move through the presentation. But that's just a backdrop on why our presentation doesn't contain the estimate from the geology point of view. Okay, top line, C29, corporate structure, about 140 million shares on issue, about 16 million options, thereabouts, and a couple of mil in the bank. So a very, very tight structure, well capitalised and very well supported. And there's some really good supporters in the room here today. So that's our corporate structure. Very neat, very tidy, very few options out there, and a very clean runway. Okay. In terms of our game plan and what we see as critical success factors for a junior explorer, and particularly when you talk about uranium and when you talk about a new jurisdiction being Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, notwithstanding, is the world's largest uranium producer, produces about 43% of the global supply of uranium. So a significant player. As significant, they're the lowest cost producer by half. So they're a powerhouse. The country has aspirations to grow their uranium business, further vertically integrate it, etc. So a very, very positive environment to step into, and I can only say we have been welcomed and very supported by all levels of government and regulators. And anyone that's been following our story will see how quickly we've moved, how quickly we've been able to secure more ground, more contiguous ground, and move forward with our geological approval programs and so forth in a very rapid time. Okay, some critical success factors that really bind together our strategic plan and what we're doing. We see if you're going to go into a jurisdiction offshore, then they need to be welcoming of Western investment. It's no good trying to go to a country that's not welcoming of Western investment. We see that as mission critical. They must have an open, transparent and fair regulatory and approvals process. I'm sure many of you have experienced what happens when you don't have that. I've experienced it. I've been working in mining for close to 30 years now, project development. I've built mines all around the world. When you're in a tough jurisdiction, it's tough. And when it's not transparent,
Hello? Is that better? Yeah, sorry. Is that still connected to the... Yeah, cool.
Thank you. Sorry about that. We see that as really, really important in making sure that the process is transparent and it's fair. We also see that the country must have political stability for the mineral that you are mining, or wish to mine, wish to develop, wish to explore for. If there's no political stability or long-term support, it's very difficult. And I think it's fair to say when you talk about uranium, there's probably nothing more polarising than that, and it is mission critical. We saw Kazakhstan as that perfect opportunity given they are the global powerhouse of uranium. So I've worked on a couple of uranium projects in Australia, and I can talk about the challenges of uranium development in Australia, first-hand experiences, hence why I was very keen to be involved in C29's journey in Kazakhstan. Okay, in terms of your asset base, we see size really matters. Tier 1 asset and line of sight to a Tier 1 asset we see is very important. And I'll talk about a backdrop of the mining code in Kazakhstan of why that's even more important to us. Okay, and grade. Grade has always been and always will be king. Grade means a lot. Okay, so there are 5 points that we see as critical success factors and are what driving what we're doing and our strategic plan. What's our strategic plan? Our strategic plan is quite straightforward. Build an asset of Tier 1 quality in terms of size and scale as rapidly as we can. That is our stated strategic plan and mission, and that's what we're doing. In the last couple of months, we've had more contiguous ground granted on what we believe is the identified mineralised trend. It's also on trend from what was the Soviet era's largest operating uranium mine, Botabarum, and we are in the same formation and the same trend. And that was the largest operating uranium mine. Mined to 500 metres deep, mined circa 40 million pounds, large-scale operation. Pre-1990, thereabouts, the mine operated from mid-50s up until about 1990, so large scale. We're in that same trend and we now surround it. We have ground to the south of that and we have ground to the north of that. We are also working on how we may tie up that ground in between as well and lock up the entire regional belt. That was our stated mission, was to build scale, and that's what we're doing. Okay, rules of engagement in Kazakhstan. So there's been a little bit of press lately. People on social media talking about what they think they know about the mining code in Kazakhstan. Part of why the opportunity in Kazakhstan has existed is that there has been a lot of misinformation about their mining code, which has sort of kept some away. But since we've gone to Kazakhstan and opened up the door and achieved what we have, others are now following. You would have seen recently Laramide Resources announced securing quite a big footprint just to the north of us. There's another Australian company up there trying to do the same thing right now, and there are others because they're talking to us. So everyone now realises that the rules of engagement in Kazakhstan are not what people were misunderstanding it to be. The rules of engagement under the mining code are quite straightforward. To move from an exploration licence to a mining licence, you need to be in joint venture with Kazatomprom, the national producer. And some may say, well, how do you do that? The simple answer is 2/3 of their annualised production comes from joint venture operations. All the global majors are up there. Cameco, Sumitomo, etc. are all in joint venture with Kazatomprom. So the answer to the question about whether you can be in JV or not is answered in very simple terms. So our game plan is to build a tier 1 asset that will be attractive to one of the majors that we can then join with to then be in joint venture with. That is our game plan. Now, that's got to, that breaks down the elephant into a very simplistic form, but it can be that simple. And that's our game plan. So we believe we have every chance of success in achieving that, but that's where that is. Okay, in terms of where we are in southern central Kazakhstan, which is the largest producing uranium province in the world. As I said, 43% of global supply comes out of our region, and we're right there in the heart of it. We're very well supported. Our nearest village is the village of Aksiyek, which is about 20 kilometres from us. We've now set up base of operations there. We have a very, very close relationship with that village. We've had 3 public consultation days with that village. We've had all sorts of engagement, up to and including yesterday. Our team was out at site meeting with them again. Our presence is welcomed, their support is welcomed. They can provide a lot of services to help us, and it's a mutually beneficial relationship. We're 3.5 hours thereabouts north of Almaty. Almaty is the largest city in Kazakhstan. It's not the designated capital. The capital is in the north, Astana. Almaty in the south is the largest city. We're 3.5 hours connected by a dual lane highway virtually all the way to our site. Perfect access. You talk about the analogue of a perfect exploration site. It's flat, there's not a tree, drive straight up to the site, basically start drilling. It's as perfect. There's no rivers, there's no creeks, there's no lakes, there's no mountains, there's no anything. It is flat as far as the eye can possibly see, and not a tree as far as the eye can see. So in terms of the perfect analogue, this is it. In terms of our near-term catalysts, just to wrap up where we're at, we are any day now expecting our final Category 4 approval, which gives us right to start drilling on our Ulitau project. We will be then starting the process for drilling, accessing all of our new ground that we have secured, but that will come. But we are very, very close to securing that permit and getting our drill rig spinning. We're still anticipating to having a rig spinning in late September, but that may fall into early October. But we will have a rig spinning this side. Because we're in the south, we're very well blessed by weather. We can drill for 10 months of the year. If we're in the north, it'll be a lot shorter. If you think about some of our peers in Canada, where they can drill for 3 months, we can drill for 10 months. Our drilling costs, put our couple of million in the bank into context, our drilling costs, about $100 USD a metre for diamond drilling. Our peers in Canada, right now, $900 USD a metre. So I can make every dollar go a lot further than any of my contemporary peers. And I think that's something that puts us head and shoulders above the crowd when you're looking at why invest in C29 versus another uranium junior. Even in Australia, we're hearing $500 a metre, and there's all sorts of permitting problems and bans and all sorts of things, and the political regime is not supportive of uranium development. Let's just put it that way. Kazakhstan, obviously being the largest producer, it's very supportive. And that's C29 in a nutshell. So thank you for your time.